Okay, not to bring up a bad memory, but what's the worst fight you've ever been in, verbally or any other way? Worst fight you've ever been in? Gina? With your husband? That's so hard to believe.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Somebody else? Worst fight you ever been in? Matthew? Oh, chasing your brother with a knife. Yeah, that'd be a bad one. Yeah.
With the what?
Andrew?
Drina, she put my head through the wall.
Trina?
I was 12. I got a scar from him, though.
It was way before she was a Christian. Anybody else? Worst fight? Richard? With whom? A policeman. Oh, I remember that story. Yeah, I remember that story. John? Really? Hey, somebody else? Worst fight? Tom? With your dad. Yeah. Anybody? Is Susan not in this church this morning? Oh, she is, and your hand was down? Girl, how many fights have you been in? Too many to pick from.
I have to say with my daughter, the hardest. She was an adult and she was talking smack on the phone. And I told her to shut up and she learned, so I drove to her house and beat her down.
They're both 5 feet tall. That must have been something to see. 2 featherweights. All right. When will we all just get along? Who in your family can handle conflict? Never loses any sleep over it. Who can tell me? Sherry? TJ. TJ can handle conflict. Cool. Somebody else? Mike?
My brother.
Your brother?
He puts up all kinds of, he never seen those.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's
Wow. Anybody else good at conflict? Your sister?
my brother.
Oh, your brother. Already on? Okay, never loses any sleep over it. You, Andrew? You're that way. Okay. Really, Fernando? Okay, well, with all those women around, that's a good quality to have in your household. Charmaine? Sam, your dad? Okay. Now, who here can't keep you up at night? Conflict. Got any people like that? Not too many. If only we could all just get along and there could be a little peace. Will that ever happen? Let's pray. Speak, O God, thy servants are listening. Amen. If only we could get along and there could just be some peace, will it ever happen? Here are our sources this morning in addition to the Bible. Will that ever happen? There's a 2-part answer to that question. And the answer to both parts is yes. Part 1, and we know this, we'll all get along when Jesus returns. He's coming back to earth to put everything right. And when he arrives, he'll rule the world for a 1,000-year period we know as the millennium. Ever hear that word? It means 1,000 years. Then there will be peace. They will beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Then nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Something people have desired even before it was promised on that first Christmas night, but especially after it was. That wish has adorned Christmas cards for as long as there have been Christmas cards. Yet, no one takes it very seriously. It's a nice sentiment, wishful thought, more proof that the Bible really isn't trustworthy. But what most people fail to realize is that God didn't promise peace after Jesus' first coming. In fact, Jesus himself said, "Do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I didn't come to bring peace. But what? Sadly, my coming," Jesus said, "will divide people." He didn't promise peace after his first coming, he promised it after his second one. At that time, the wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling all together, and a little child will lead them. In that marvelous vision known as the peaceful kingdom in Isaiah 65. Back in the days of the Soviet Union, the Russians brought an exhibit to the World's Fair that was entitled World Peace. In it was a large cage, and in the cage were a little lamb and a Russian wolf feeding peaceably together. It was very impressive, and as the fair unfolded, it was spectacularly attended. One day, though, somebody asked the curator the obvious question, "How in the world do you do it? What's so special about the Soviet Union where stuff like this can happen?" He replied, "Oh, it's really very simple. We replace the lamb every morning." No peace. Now, personal peace with God by believing in Jesus, that certainly accompanied Christ's first coming. He said, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you." No Jesus, no peace. No Jesus, no peace. Universal peace, though? Hardly. Peace, peace, they say, when there is right now no peace. In fact, the worst war in history will just precede Jesus' second coming in a place called Armageddon. So what will happen when Jesus finally appears? How will we go from war like no other to peace like no other? Well, the Bible says he'll come down from heaven and send his angels out with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect, us if we're still living, from the four winds, and the believers who died from one end of the heavens to the other. Who here has been in a fire drill? Show of hands. Ever been in a fire drill? When? When? Who can give me an example? Where were you? At school. Okay, sure. You too. Okay. Anybody else? Where do you have a fire drill?
Work.
Tina, at work? Do you have one at work? Okay. Anybody else? Ray? Basic training. Yeah. They used to call those Chinese fire drills, didn't they? Okay. Anybody else? All right. What do you say, Doug? Construction site. Did you have one there, huh? Okay. Okay. Just a question here. County jail? Did you have any county jail? You were working there. You weren't in it.
They broke it.
You broke it. Okay.
They broke it.
You broke it. That was my next question.
All the alarms went off.
Who here?
It's his fault.
Who here has broken one of those? Huh? Who pulled one? Doug, you pulled one? You know, I thought for sure Richie would be here and put his hand up. Richie didn't do it. Or he's not here. Oh, he's here, but you didn't pull it. You never pulled it. I don't believe that. People from all over the building all in the middle of doing different things, all suddenly find themselves outside. It'll kind of be like that when Jesus comes back. Then Jesus, the Bible says, will take care of the Antichrist. Afterwards, it won't take long. He'll come to Jerusalem. On that first day, the Bible promises he will sit on the throne. And he'll divide all the people still left on the earth, not us, will be with him, into two groups that the Bible calls sheep and goats. The one on his right, the sheep, will be allowed into his kingdom. And the ones on his left will not. It'll be done on the basis of how they treated the poor. One of the reasons why we do have outreaches to our neighborhood, because Jesus would be doing the same thing. That's why we have Thanksgiving, those 500 turkeys we're praying for, Christmas, where we're praying for a community Christmas party of 4,000 people like we did last year, feeding them all, giving gifts to 2,000 of their children, and the next day having a party here and giving it to you guys and your children. So, and that's why we located here, in this particular neighborhood. That's intentional. Whatever you did, Jesus said, or did not do, for one of the least of these, you did or did not do for me. Now, in the midst of this day, all of us will hardly have had time to notice a drastic change in the, the atmosphere. The curse that Adam and Eve brought upon everyone will have been partially lifted. Things won't decay anymore. Can you remember a time when something decayed in your house? Anybody have something that decayed in your house? Matthew? A bag of what?
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Okay, is that at the house across the street? Why am I not surprised? We'll talk about that another time. Somebody else? What'd you have that decayed? Susan?
We went to California on a trip to get my kids, and I didn't know any better, but they brought home an oyster and stuck it inside the bathroom sink downstairs.
Oh.
We thought it could live, and it was gross.
Oh, boy. An oyster in their bathroom sink. Anybody else? Dominic?
In the bathroom, the floor was like board, and it just decayed and had to redo it.
Oh, man.
I don't think that.
Oh, man. I hear you. Decay. There won't be any decay. Many at that time will live to be 1,000 years old. He who dies at 100 will be considered a mere youth. What's the oldest somebody in your family lived to? Give me an example. Dominic?
94,
Who was it?
my grandpa.
Grandpa? Somebody else? Yeah, Yvonne? 105. Who was that? Your great aunt. Wow. Anybody else? Della? 99 for your uncle. Phenomenal. Anybody else? Nobody else in that category. Doug? Great grandfather, 83. Yep. Julie?
My grandmother, 100.
100 for your grandma. She made 100. Wow, that's incredible. Well, they can be considered youngsters in the millennium. And babies won't die at all. Who here has lost a child, an infant? Won't happen in the millennium.